Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
And here we go.
Live from the Hollywood foothills of North Carolina, welcome to episode 81 of the Confirmed Epic Podcast, the official podcast of the epicreview.com and proudly presented by the Geeks Worldwide Radio Network. I'm one of your three hosts, the real Brad Bell, and joining me today, as usual, is my podcasting brother and one of my best friends, Mr. Andrew Stokes, also known as
Andrew Stokes.
And with Andrew Stokes, we have with him his better half. She's back on the podcast by popular demand, Miss Kate Mcall. Kate, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back.
Anytime. We're glad to have you on. The topic today is not a movie review or a TV review. It's actually another top 10 list. So we're going to start 2018 the way we ended 2017. We're going to be counting down our top 10 most anticipated films of winter and spring 2018. So that'll be from now, the beginning of January, till the end of April. So leading up to Infinity War, which would kick off the summer movie season. Well, when I say we are, I'll use that term loosely because Kate and I probably are. But Andrew Stokes has made us a list of 17 honorable mentions instead. Thank you, Andrew.
Kind of, sort of. I'll probably just comment on you guys and stuff. I think is what's going to wind up happening.
Unless there's,
you guys why you're wrong without, giving my own opinion.
But if there's something that's like not on there in our list, I would like for you to mention it if that's cool.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this show rolling today. Hard to believe it's 2018. I hope everyone had a very safe and happy new year, and thank you for click and play, downloading us on the Geeks Worldwide Radio Network. So let's go ahead and get into what we've been checking out this week. I've checked out a few things, but let's start with Miss Kate McCall. Kate, what have you been checking out this week?
I have been checking out The Mist, the TV series on Netflix. I found it to be quite enjoyable. I'll be honest, I have not read the book. I did watch that movie. I think it was a straight-to-TV movie, but it was also good. I definitely say watch it. It was enjoyable. It had a lot of turns. Great stuff.
The Mist is based on a Stephen King novel, right?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. There was one I saw in like 2003 or so. Well, I saw it after 2003, but it came out in like 2003. And I don't know if it was The Mist or The Fog. I think it's The Mist. I just remember it had a very depressing ending. Am I thinking of the right thing?
Yeah, I believe so. There is a fog. They are trapped in a store.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this series does not follow that story so much. Again, I haven't read the book. I'm probably not the best person to talk about it, but it has a slightly different plot, follows a slightly different family, but it's still very interesting and has a lot of those same dark overtones.
Yeah, I enjoyed that movie. I remember Abby and I watched that together, and that it's kind of a jaw-dropping ending. Of course, I won't spoil it here. I think the guy I can't remember who directed The Mist. The guy that wrote The Mist was Frank Darabont, who wrote the first season of The Walking Dead and wrote Shawshank Redemption. I do remember that. So it was a very tight script. It was a theatrical release. So it's cool to see some of these shows, previous movies transition to shows. The Stephen King is everywhere, it seems like, since it came out.
Yeah. I haven't read any of his books. I'm horrible, I know. But I think I'm probably going to start with The Mist because it's just been a good story everywhere I've seen it.
Yeah, so that's cool. That's The Mist on Netflix. Thanks for that recommendation, Kate. Andrew Stokes, what have you been checking out this week, my friend?
I watched the first season of the Amazon show Sneaky Pete. Have you seen this?
No, I hadn't. I never watch Amazon. Even though I have Prime, I just never do for whatever reason.
You've never seen Man in the High Castle?
Yeah, I've watched like the first 4 or 5 episodes of that and liked it. I just didn't like it enough to finish it, I guess.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, it was like well done, heavy TV drama, but I don't know. It didn't just have that Netflix appeal of I have to watch the next episode. But I know it does for a lot of people.
I'm judging you a little bit, but all right.
So what is Sneaky Pete?
Well,
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
it's basically about this guy, and this is all kind of in the first. This is the premise of the show, so I don't feel like it's giving too much away. It's in the first episode. Basically, this guy leaves prison, and he's in he's in a trouble where he owes this guy some money, and he's sending some goons after him and whatnot. And so he goes and hides with his family, and pretends to be somebody he's not, so he won't get caught. And it's just one of these kind of tangled web type lies turned to lies type deal. While everybody else has their own kind of family. The family maybe isn't as squeaky clean as he thought to begin with as well and stuff. It's a really good show.
So is it like an average guy gets in over his head, like Breaking Bad or Ozark or something?
No, he's definitely like he's in the crime world. You know what I mean? He's like this, pretty good con man. Yeah, he's definitely not your average person. I guess the family's maybe supposed to be average.
Who plays Pete? Is it like a known commodity or is it just an unknown?
I think I'm forgetting his name. He played Frank Jr. in Friends. He's probably the biggest thing I know him from.
If you don't know that, then I'm not going to know that. If it's a Friends reference.
He's one of those guys that he's in things. You know what I mean?
He's a character actor.
Right. Giovanni's last name? I forget.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. We'll look it up.
Yeah, well, that's 2 weeks.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you, Kate. And that's why she's on the show.
The show is created co-created and co-written by why am I blanking on his name? From Breaking Bad. Bryan Cranston, thank you.
Oh wow, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now I've heard of that. Now that sounds like that would be something worth checking out. And you have brought us.
It's 10 episodes of the first season. The second season's getting ready to come out. I already can't wait for it because I'm really interested. I'm interested to see. There's some strings. It's kind of like Stranger Things, where like you can see what they could do with the second season, but everything kind of feels wrapped up. So I'm really interested to kind of see where it goes.
All right, so that's Sneaky Pete on Amazon. That's great because you brought us a Hulu show last week, so you're mixing up the streaming platforms.
What was last week? I already forgot.
Future Man,
yeah.
With our boy Josh Hutcherson in it, which I want to watch, but I don't have Hulu.
I'd watch Sneaky Pete first.
Really?
Yeah, well, I mean, I
got to finish Breaking Bad, dude, first.
Oh, yes, you do.
I've never finished it. I've watched like the first 3 seasons and I just have not. I'm in the 4th season, like 4 episodes in. Last time I watched it was summer break though. All right, so let's go ahead and get into what I've been checking out this week. I actually got to check out a movie, Andrew, that you mentioned on last week's podcast as one of your honorable mentions of your top 10 of last year. That is Kingsman and the Golden Circle. Now, I really enjoyed this movie. I was a big fan of the original Kingsman. Matthew Vaughn directed it. I don't know why I never got out to the theater to see this. I heard a lot about the long running time. I think it was like 2 hours and 30 minutes or something. But I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I'd probably give it a great, where I'd give the first Kingsman maybe a great and a half. So not as good as the original. My favorite scene in this entire movie, though, is, and not to spoil too much again, we're only in what we've been checking out, but that ski lift scene is really what I would quantify as an epic scene when they cut the ski lift and chaos ensues. So I enjoyed that long continuous shot car opening sequence between Eggsy and the guy who failed to make the Kingsman cut. That was pretty cool. I love all the stuff with the now princess and Eggsy. So that's cool, which I guess she was a princess all along. One of the complaints people had a lot about the first Kingsman is that it felt really misogynistic. And I mean, I could only see that from a male perspective. So obviously I can't truly comment on that. But the only thing I remember being too misogynistic was that scene at the end. And it had some payoff because he ends up with that girl at least. So I enjoyed it a lot. So did Cookie, my beagle right here, who wants me to pick her up. Kate, have you seen either one of the Kingsman movies?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I went to see the first one in theaters, and then when I found out they were making another, I went out to see it in the first week.
Yeah.
I thought they were both excellent. I'm with you, though. I think the first one was definitely better. But I think Golden Circle had its merits.
Yeah, it was a worthy sequel. It wasn't one of those ones where you go to it and just like, oh, this is just a complete drop off. The only thing I maybe didn't like is Colin Firth. His character felt a little forced into this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was apparent that they really wanted him to be in this sequel. I mean, it's a very out there, outlandish kind of comic book world building they've done with the Kingsman franchise, so it wasn't too far like crazy. But I don't know. That felt a bit forced to me. Also, Julianne Moore was a great villain, but it's hard to top Samuel L. Jackson with the lisp in the first one. I'm sorry. So, yeah, that is.
But I like the different kind of villain that she brought to the table.
Oh, I did too. I'm glad they mixed it up. And she was a very good villain, but it was just like, I don't know, kind of going from Jack Nicholson Joker to Danny DeVito Penguin. Danny DeVito's Penguin is awesome, but it's not Jack Nicholson Joker, to make a comparison. Not that it was a big step down. I just didn't think it was as good. But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's Matthew Vaughn's Kingsman 2, The Golden Circle.
One other thing I've been checking out this week, just to give a shout out to it, was the movie Coco.
Oh, wow. Cool.
If I had seen that a week prior, that would have been on my top 10 list for the year. It was fantastic.
And you used your movie pass to go see that. So that's getting your money's worth. I really wanted to see Coco. I've heard a lot of people say it was their favorite Pixar movie, which is insane.
I'm not sure it takes Toy Story 3 for me, but I mean, it's up there. It feels like classic, like great Pixar films. It honestly probably jump all the way like number 5 or something on my list, like around there. Like it was really good.
Yeah, I'm really partial to animated films. So for me, it actually would have taken my second place, right under Spider-Man. But it was exceptional. It was beautifully done. It was visually appealing, and I may have cried at the end.
Nothing wrong with that. I cry at the end of a lot of things. Speaking of something that was somewhat sad, but ultimately uplifting, I watched the movie The Mountain Between Us with Kate Winslet and Idris Elba. This was a good stay-in kind of date movie for Abby and I. We ordered it on demand. You may have seen the trailer for this, Andrew. You may have seen it as well, Kate. You also may hear my dogs who are going ape shit right now.
They really love this movie.
Yeah, there was actually a pretty awesome dog in the movie. It was more sympathetic than some of the human characters. Sadie, stop it. All right, so plane crash, Kate Winslet, Idris Elba. They got to survive out in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in the, I don't know if it was in the Colorado Rockies, somewhere out nowhere. And they end up falling in love. Spoiler alert for that one. And it doesn't feel all that cheesy, though, but I can see how some people would feel that way. I would recommend watching it just for a good date night movie. So I watch Idris Elba in most things.
Yeah, that's fair. I like how you think the Rockies is kind of nowhere, though. It's maybe one of the most popular mountain ranges, but I gotcha.
Maybe, what about the Sierra Nevada mountains? Would that be better?
Sure.
Okay. All right. It was in this. Now, I don't know what mountains it was in. So that's all I've got for checking out. Do you guys have anything else?
No, that was pretty much it. Everything I've been watching lately has been real good. So
2018 off to a good start entertainment wise, although probably most of that stuff was out in 2017 that we watched. Let's go ahead and get into epic news for this week. It wasn't a insanely heavy week coming out of New Year's because news is just kind of light during this time of the year in Hollywood and within the comic book industry and stuff. But there is another buyout rumor, and this is not involving Disney, surprisingly enough. Apple is rumored to buy Netflix sometime in 2018, and this comes after a long speculated Apple streaming platform. So this would make sense that it would be Netflix. And of course, they do have the money to do this. It has something to do with the Trump tax cut. They're able to get some money offshore without a tax penalty. Yeah, I mean, this stuff is legit. I'm serious. So Apple buying Netflix. Kate, is this a good thing, bad thing, or do you give a shit?
I think I might be the latter on this one. I mean, as long as they're still putting out quality material, I don't really care who owns them. I'm not a fan of Apple. I don't use any of their products, but, they are a large force, and I'm sure they could make interesting things happen.
What about you, Andrew Stokes?
I think I'm not a fan of this idea just because I'm also not an Apple user, and a lot of Apple products to me feel very exclusive. A lot of their products and services, and so I definitely don't want to see. I don't know. I don't want Netflix to become like maybe harder to for me to watch or something like that. You know what I mean?
You have to log in with your Apple Cloud ID to watch Netflix.
Or something like that. You know?
God, that's a pain in the ass. And that's where Apple gets you. If you are an Apple user like I am, and Abby, my wife, and I are, and it's even as the product kind of decreases in quality, especially since the passing of Steve Jobs, everything's so intertwined with your desktop, your laptop, your iPhone. If you have an iPod, which most people don't now, but everything's just into that iCloud, all your pictures, everything. And it really kind of makes you feel like you have to stay with them, even though you do not have to.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I guess when I think about like Amazon specifically versus like Netflix and Hulu and stuff, one thing I think they have going for them though is if you wanted to go watch a movie on like Amazon Prime and they don't have it, normally they have it right there for you to rent as well. So there's still like an option to see it. Whereas that's something that Netflix and Hulu doesn't have. So if Netflix is bought by Apple, maybe they could have some sort of integration with the iTunes store or whatever, where you could rent a movie from the iTunes store that's not available on Netflix, which could be good for Netflix itself.
I think that would be awesome. I didn't think about it that way, Andrew, but there's so many
You're welcome.
times like we're browsing through Netflix because even though we have Amazon, our TV, the only smart technology we have on our TV in the living room is the old PlayStation 3 that we watch Netflix on. Although we have a smart TV in the other room, it's just that option will be good to have. Like if you really want to watch a movie, here it is to buy, rent. I know Amazon has a lot of movies to rent for $6 and $7. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, good thinking there, Andrew Stokes. That's why you've been a successful podcaster since 2013. Let's move on to movie ticket sales. They are down big time from a year ago. 2017 had the lowest number of ticket sales in 25 years, down from 1.3 billion to 1.2 billion. So there would have been 1.3 billion dollars worth of tickets sold in 2016 and 2017, a drop to 1.2 billion. This is interesting because I don't know what kind of sign this is, because I felt like 2017 was one of the best years of film in a long, long time. So it's kind of shocking to see these numbers. Andrew, what do you think about these?
I mean, it's interesting because you look at films like we had one week or 1 month that was like the lowest in like I forget how many years or whatever, and then you have things like The Last Jedi, which hasn't quite made the money The Force Awakens has yet on opening weekend or domestically, I don't think. So I don't know. Maybe it can help kind of explain some of these things. I mean, there were some dead spots. I think it's like a lot of movies had like big drop offs. I think a lot of people there was certain films like Wonder Woman and Thor Ragnarok and stuff where people just flocked and saw it on opening weekend, and then really didn't see much of anything else. Beauty and the Beast was another big one this year. So I don't know, man. We had these good movies, and I feel like everybody went and saw those good movies, and they really just didn't go see that in between stuff.
Yeah. What do you think, Kate? Why are movie ticket sales down in your opinion? The movies just suck now?
No, I don't know. I mean, I guess part of it is probably I don't know, theaters themselves just don't seem to be as appealing anymore.
Yeah, that's a big part of it with the streaming platforms.
Right. So like for my family, our big holiday tradition is Christmas Day, we all go see a movie. We're big on going to see movies. But there's a lot of people that like I work with. They don't talk about movies. They talk about what they're watching on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon. I think just the appeal of going out to a dark theater with a bunch of strangers isn't isn't as exciting as staying at home and, watching something that's recently come out on your TV while you do shopping in your underwear.
The older I get, the more I agree with you. But still, for those big releases, like Andrew was saying, there is something special about that theater going kind of intimate experience you have at the movie theater with something like Star Wars The Last Jedi or Infinity War. It's just, I think both of y'all hit on a good point. And Andrew, a lot of the filler stuff is not as good. It seems like almost Hollywood is front loaded. Everything, you have these blockbusters, people see them, they're event movies. And then all the other in between, it just seems like there's less and less of that, or it's less talked about.
Well, less people going. Like stuff like Hitman's Bodyguard, I believe, was like a big flop and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know why this was the case. It felt like the Oscar kind of, these movies like Lady Bird and the Florida Project and things, these films, some of them come out of Sundance and the Cannes Film Festival. It seemed like it took them a while to catch on this year compared to previous years. Like we're just now hearing a ton about Lady Bird, it feels like. And Cookie agrees.
Yeah, Cookie loves that movie.
She loves Lady Bird. She loves birds though because she's a beagle. I think she used to hunt them. Okay, Andrew Stokes, Kate Mcall, starting with Kate, since you are a female, there is a real possibility that after Daniel Craig plays Bond for the last time in November 2019, that MGM may go with a female James Bond. What would you think about that, Kate?
I think I would be perfectly fine with that, just as long as it makes sense in the story. I know a lot of people have an issue with this transfer of, I guess, gender that you see a lot in like comic books right now. There's a Lady Thor. There's, a whole bunch of different Spider-Men. Like I see where people are coming from, that they don't like to see all that change. But for me, especially in this particular role that's been played by so many people and has, generally just the same storyline, I think it's perfect. I do wonder what they're going to call her, though.
Janice Bond, I'm sure.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that is horrible. I mean, I guess she doesn't have to be Bond. I guess maybe she does. I don't know for legitimacy.
I don't think she does. I think she can just be Agent 007.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot better than forcing the Bond namesake onto a new female Bond. Andrew,
Jamie Bond.
Yeah, Jamie Bond. I like that. What do you think, Andrew? A female James Bond?
You remember what my favorite James Bond film is, Brad?
The GoldenEye video game?
I don't know. I'm not sure I've seen a single one all the way through. So I really don't care at all. Like they can do whatever they want to the franchise, right? Like it doesn't really affect me.
It's a shame you haven't seen Skyfall. That is a travesty.
I've seen most of Casino Royale, and I think I've seen a fair amount of GoldenEye.
Were you a GoldenEye game fan?
No, I never played it.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a defining game for like people our age, especially playing with Oddjob, who just seemed like he had a one-up on everybody.
Well, I'm one of 3 siblings, so my big thing was just the split screen multiplayer.
That was so awesome. Getting your friends together, the 4-player split screen.
Yeah, I probably played it at some point, but I never had an N64, so it was probably one of those games where I showed up, got beat horribly, and was like, "Oh, don't want to play this again." So
the only thing that concerns me about this, and this may be a big reason to push a female James Bond into the limelight, is James Bond's one of the few characters going into 2019 when the next one's supposed to come out. I mean, when you take a step back and look at James Bond, he's a misogynistic asshole. He's not a very endurable character. I mean, maybe it is time for a change in this current climate we live in socially.
Yeah, he's not very endurable. That's right.
Or maybe the word I'm looking for is indelible. He can endure.
He's not endearing.
Yeah, endearing. Well, he can endure a lot, right? Because he's James Bond. Has been around like 25 movies. But yeah, no, I misspoke on that. My bad.
Right, but that does bring up the question of what kind of I guess, caricature are they going to build for this new Bond? I mean, she can't just be. I mean, I guess she could, but I wouldn't be interested in her being just I don't know, a feminazi. I'd want to see a good character development. You know, I want to see all the cool spy gadgets, but she still needs to be, I don't know, svelte. She needs to be awesome.
But she can't be too promiscuous either, because that would come across in the wrong way, even though that's a double standard, because people have applauded the James Bond for doing it up until this point.
I don't know, because particularly in a spy standpoint, being able to seduce somebody is a skill set. I mean, yeah, well, not to jump into movies that are coming out, but there's a movie coming out, this coming year in the next few months that is about a female spy
I saw that
who
movie.
seduces people. So, I mean,
Red Sparrow, right?
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Starring Jennifer Lawrence. Maybe that will appear on one of our lists. Yeah, so this will be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, I think everybody wants this, and they've been talking about it for a long time, is they want to see Idris Elba as Bond. So I would like to see that as well, going back to Idris Elba. But people want to see Idris Elba for every role, and why not? He's one of the best actors going right now.
Yeah,
but
he's got a lot of things coming out soon, though. So, I mean, I can get him elsewhere.
Yeah, that's true. Off the top of your head, who do you cast as the female James Bond? Any suggestions?
Josh Gad.
He could play that role. He's very good. Giovanni, what's his name from Friends? No, I hate to say Jennifer Lawrence, cause going back to Red Sparrow, but
No.
I mean, she could do
I'm
it.
frankly tired of seeing her too. I think it would be cool if we just had a nobody who was good at it.
Can you? Yeah, I mean, it's not that the James Bond actors have been these known commodities going into playing James Bond. I mean, they're not casting DiCaprio or anything.
Right. Maybe just Daniel Craig was something prior, but I mean,
Emma Watson.
I hate you.
That Emma Watson would be good, I think. She's British, so we can make that work.
Oh my god.
What about Daisy Ridley?
That would be a good one. Damn, she's Ray and Bond or 007. That is a really good one.
Thank you.
Man, I can't. Surely they wouldn't go with Scarlett Johansson. I couldn't see her in that role. I think they would go with a. Oh, I got one. I know who I want to see. No, Emily Blunt. That would be my pick. I love me some Emily Blunt. I'm telling you. Gosh, that one, she saved Edge of Tomorrow. I mean, seriously, like, my wife knows this too, and I love Emily Blunt.
Gal Gadot?
Yeah, I like her too. I'm not like, that's not like one of my celebrity crushes or anything, Gal Gadot. We talked about this.
As far as James Bond goes, not as far as Brad's house.
I thought you were talking about my celebrity crushes. I mean, no, I could see Gal Gadot, but that almost feels like too obvious of a choice.
Okay.
And who says she has to be British, right? I mean,
the fact that no, she needs to be British. She at least needs to be able to affect a British accent.
Yeah, well, Gal Gadot's Israeli, right? So that
right.
I don't know. What do you think about Gadot, Kate? Would you like to see her in Bond?
No.
No, man.
I definitely don't want to see Emma Watson either.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I want to see somebody who's just going to really play the role. I don't have anything against Emily Blunt. She might be good for it, but like, I just don't see Jennifer Lawrence doing another, hey, I'm sexy thing. I just don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Emily Blunt as my pick. I'm going to leave it at that. I mean, maybe up on further review, I'll change my mind. And who knows if this ever happens. I hope this isn't some type of political pandering here by Sony, which owns MGM now, of course.
Well, I mean, at the same time, I mean, you look at the box office this year, and it was dominated. The top 3 spots were all movies with female leads, right? Beauty and the Beast, Last Jedi, and Wonder Woman. So,
yeah,
there's money to be had there. It seems like, at least, you could argue what it was that led to that success, but
people are tired of seeing white males. They just want to see fresh faces.
Females.
Yeah, white females now.
What what's the name of the actress that plays that's playing in the new Tomb Raider movie?
I don't know.
She could maybe do be a good Jamie Bond.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Well, we're just spitballing here.
Yeah, that was fun though. That's why I wanted to use this as a topic today. So, some other news tidbits here. Not going to go too deep into this. Game of Thrones has been confirmed by HBO to be returning in 2019. That's kind of what we thought, spring or summer 2019. So, no surprise there. Some people were upset, and I don't get that because no one ever really felt this show was coming back on in 2018. So. Andrew, plenty of time to catch up on that.
Oh boy, plenty of time for that new book to come out.
Yeah. Channel Zero, which is one of my favorite shows on TV. It's an anthology horror series, much like American Horror Story, but at this point, way better. So they've done 2 seasons now. They did Candle Cove, where a guy was obsessed with his childhood. It was some kind of childhood doll. I hadn't seen that one. Then they did No End House, which was a insanely creepy haunted house story. Love that one. That came on around Halloween. They're doing Butcher's Block, which is some kind of cannibal story, I believe, February 7th. This comes on Sci-Fi Channel. So I'm excited.
I've not heard of.
Yeah, it's the best show nobody talks about. And I've heard that. Andrew, you would really like this show. At least the second season, because that's all I've seen.
Well, sorry, what does it come on?
It comes on Sci-Fi.
Oh, okay.
That's how you say it, right? So, it's SYFI now. I mean FY now. Right, okay. Yeah.
So when you say an anthology series, it's each season is a story?
Yeah, brand new story. I don't think the actors don't carry and actresses don't carry over as much as they do in American Horror Story, but I do believe there is some overlap. And it's just like the second season legitimately scared me. And that doesn't happen a lot with any horror, let alone, and I'm not some tough guy. I mean, I've just been exposed to it so much. Especially on TV, horror doesn't usually freak me out. There was some political stuff in this past season of American Horror Story Cult that did. But I would recommend this show to our listeners and especially to you guys. Kate, are you a big horror fan? I don't know.
That is a no.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't recommend this to you then.
So a legitimate question from me being on Sci-Fi, how does it look?
It doesn't look like a HBO show, but I think it's on par with it like an FX show. I would say like it didn't look, they weren't trying to do too much. I think they really realized their budgetary constraints. And so therefore it looked good. Like they spent all their money on the actual haunted house. Mm-hmm. And that looked fantastic. And they didn't try to be too gaudy or too over the top with it. But yeah, I mean, some of the stuff on there does not always look the best.
No, not typically. But I mean, I can respect that. I understand being a TV show and, budgetary restraints. Just curious.
All right. In other news, John Williams is composing a brand new theme for Han Solo for the upcoming Star Wars anthology Han Solo story out Memorial Day weekend this year. Now, he's not doing the whole soundtrack. That's John Powell who's doing the rest of that score. But cool to see John Williams back with Star Wars. That's always a good sign. I'm assuming you guys are happy about that, as happy as I am, right?
Yeah. I mean, if it's the main theme too, I would expect the main portion of it to be incorporated throughout too. So
I expect iconic, nothing less from John Williams here. Now, here's one I do want you guys to really chime in on. So there's a rumor, so this isn't a spoiler, that Boba Fett is going to be in the Han Solo movie. Is this a good or bad thing? What do you think, Andrew Stokes?
Depends on whether it's good or bad in the film. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, it seems like typical, got to throw somebody in there. You know what I mean? If it's done well, cool. If it's done like C-3PO and R2-D2 in Rogue One, then just leave them out. Sounds, you know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you think, Kate? Do you want to see the Fett and Solo?
I mean, I am kind of fetted out, I guess, but
Bet up.
yeah, I'm fed up. Um, I would say, as long as it's good, it's good. But I don't know. I mean, I did see. I'd just be curious where he fits into where it actually matters to the story. That's all.
He discovers carbonite.
I mean, but like,
I'm just joking. Like, here's the thing. This is the biggest galaxy that only a few people we get to see, it feels like. And Star Wars falls into that trap with the Skywalkers, but now it's starting to do it with this supporting cast too, like that bad 3PO and R2 cameo Andrew referenced. And another rumor is, I didn't have it in the show notes, but Darth Vader is going to be in this as well. Like, I love Darth Vader. He's one of my favorite, if not my favorite character of all time in fiction. But like, I don't want to you can't oversaturate Vader, in my opinion.
They can and they will.
Oh, they can and they will, but I think that's a bad thing. He kind of loses his effectiveness if he shows up like in everything with Star Wars on it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you think so, Andrew? It's like,
I'm just waiting for the Yoda movie where he has a premonition where we see like Anakin and Darth Vader and such.
I hope we see Hayden Christensen Force Ghost in episode 9.
I'm gonna need you to stop.
That's one of my hopes.
I'm all for it.
All right, speaking of hope, A New Hope Academy Award-winning costume designer John Molo has passed away at the age of 86, obviously designing those iconic costumes for Princess Leia, Han Solo, and many other iconic characters that people still cosplay into this very day. So may he rest in peace. So ending with some sad epic news there. Unless you guys got anything else for epic news, we can go ahead and get into our main topic.
No, let's jump in.
All right, so this is our most anticipated films of winter and spring 2018. Andrew has a loose list that he'll mention, I think, as we go along or at the end of the podcast. Kate has a list of 10 films. I've done this 10 through 1. Kate, do you just have 10 films or did you go 10 through 1?
I mean, I did them in order, but I did them first to bottom, so I'll just read backwards.
All right, sounds
Good
cool.
luck to the
Okay, Andrew, chime in when you want to. Okay, buddy?
Yeah, and this covers January of this year through the end of April.
Yeah, that would be correct. Okay, and we'll do honorable mentions at the end so we won't spoil anything like we did last week with our top 10 of the year. Now, I'll just go ahead and preface this. There's a good chance that I think I'm going to see half the movies on this list, but me seeing all 10 may be unlikely, especially with a newborn on the way at the end of April.
Yeah. Yeah, and the ones I do mention, I stuck to movies that are getting wide releases again. I've started doing that on my lists, and I continue that here.
Very cool. All right, Kate, let's start with you. What is your number 10 most anticipated movie of fall/winter 2018? I'm sorry, of winter/spring 2018.
Nice. You might judge me a little for this, but my 10 is Cloverfield 2017, which I am fully aware there's not even a preview for.
Why would I judge you for that? That's a fantastic. I'm going to judge you with high remarks. I think it should be higher on your list, but.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
I felt kind of iffy putting it too high on my list with literally no information except, it takes place in space. But I very much enjoyed 12 Cloverfield Lane, 10 Cloverfield Lane?
10.
The 10 Cloverfield Lane. And I didn't necessarily expect to because, let's be honest, Cloverfield was not good.
What?
Nope, sorry. I didn't actually.
We'll agree to disagree.
All right. Andrew's over here unplugging everything. I didn't like Cloverfield. But I saw the previews for the second one, thought, wow, that looks really good, and then went to see it and was not disappointed. So just that this is coming out, I'm very excited for it.
This is the previously titled Cloverfield God Particle, which I think they're going to rename it, and they pushed it from February. What, Andrew?
Yeah, it was originally just God Particle, I believe. Like 10 Cloverfield Lane had a different title altogether. This was, I think, just God Particle. And so I think it was probably the script, it sounds like, that was reworked and rewritten a little bit to get that Cloverfield feel to it, I guess, kind of like 10 Cloverfield Lane supposedly was. So
Yeah, and they pushed this from February 2018 to 4/20/18, which stinks.
It was originally supposed to come out February of last year, right? And then it got pushed to fall of last year, and then February of this year, and now April of this year.
Which stinks because I was hoping for this in February because April's going to be tough for me with the baby, and I would have been able to definitely see it in February. So that kind of stinks. But even if I have to wait for on demand, I'm going to definitely see this. I love the Cloverfield movies.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it, but I mean, like I always do, if there's no trailer, there's too many other good things coming out with trailers. I don't really pay much attention to things without them.
So I will say this is higher up on my list.
Ooh, a little foreshadowing.
All right, my number 10 is Tomb Raider, directed by a relatively unknown, I would say, Roar Uthaug is the director. Never heard of him. Maybe I never will again. But I mean, the trailer for this movie looks interesting. It looks like they're going to do a lot more with Lara Croft than they did with the Angelina Jolie version of the character, which involved hot, steamy showers very often. So the character may actually be developed and be put into stories that have a plot. Looks very, I know that Tomb Raider was before Uncharted, but it looks very Uncharted as far as the scenes they show in the trailer. I mean, there's scenes that look like a video game mission, right? Where she's trying to walk across that damaged plane.
It's almost like it's based off of a video game.
Yeah, I know, which those are never good movies, but
I mean, especially if you've played the newer Tomb Raiders. I haven't played the most recent one, but I played the first kind of reboot they did. And it seems very Uncharted-esque. And this movie, the plot seems a little different, but it seems very much like they're recreating shots from that movie almost, or from that video game almost.
From Tomb Raider or Uncharted, or both?
From Tomb Raider.
Okay.
From the Tomb Raider game, which is Uncharted-like. The newest Tomb Raider stuff came out after the Uncharted games came out.
Yeah. Which the tagline for this movie is "Big things from small beginnings," which is a little odd, but no, I'm just joking. Okay. So that is our number 10. What is your number 9, Kate?
Ready Player One is my number 9.
Really? Tell us why.
Well, I'm not an 80s child. So
what?
I'm just saying.
You're off the podcast. I'm just kidding.
I actually hate most of the things from the 80s, including the movies. So y'all just,
Please don't say you hate Back to the Future.
Oh, okay. I won't say it.
Oh my God. Okay. Sorry, Kate. Go ahead.
I guess I like the idea. I've not read the book, but it's kind of a concept that I'm not opposed to. I don't know. I kind of don't like movies that are done in that style. We're seeing the whole thing through an avatar for like a large portion of it.
Kind of like Tron Legacy.
Yeah, Tron was fine, but it was like, I don't know. This is clearly much more CG. The characters are supposed to look like they're in a video game, and I don't know. I did see the Iron Giant though, and I friggin' love him, so that's like a small plus.
The thing that scares me about this movie, and it is on my list a little bit higher up, is it going to be too reliant on nostalgia? I love nostalgia, but I don't think you can drive a whole movie on that, although Universal would disagree with Jurassic World. But
I think the book is definitely very nostalgia heavy, and it's definitely one of the selling points of it. But I think they do a good job of tying the nostalgia into a plot. I mean, again, it's, in my opinion, the book is it's a fun, entertaining book. It's not the deepest story you're ever going to read. It's not the most meaningful thing at the end. It's a little cliche at points, but I mean, I think it was a lot of fun though.
So you finished the book, right, Andrew?
Yeah, I read the book a few years back.
Okay, and Kate, you haven't read the book, right?
No, I haven't. I wasn't aware it was a thing until I saw the preview and Andrew told me he'd read it.
Did you see the poster where he has the leg that was like totally disproportionate to his body?
No, I've not.
God, that was a terrible example of why a good example of why studio posters suck. Although they have gotten better in the past couple of years, but
yeah. But I mean, Steven Spielberg also the director for this movie, so that's a.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. That may be kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
One of the biggest directors of all time he's doing this kind of science fiction, science fantasy movie, which is kind of going back to his roots.
Yeah.
He's been in historical territory with like Lincoln and the Post.
Yeah, the Post.
Gosh, Cookie's in full on howling mode today.
People are excited about these lists, man.
Yeah, list season is awesome. I love our list shows. I really do. My number 9, I think, is going to surprise you too a little bit.
Okay.
My number 9 is Paddington 2, directed by Paul King.
Yeah, you're right.
Paddington is one of the most successful movies from a critical standpoint, or franchises, I should say, of the past couple of years. So, full disclosure, this movie came out already in England in December, so it's getting this U.S. release in 2018.
Right.
And I think the first movie has about 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the second one was supposed to be a tearjerker, is at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So here's the thing, guys. I've never seen Paddington 1.
Are you kidding me?
But I put this on my list. I did order Paddington 1 from Amazon after I found out that, I did that before I found out the movie is on Netflix. So if any of our listeners, including you guys, want to check out Paddington, you can do so on
watching that tonight.
Netflix. But I mean, it's supposed to be absolutely delightful, like one of these kids' movies that adults will really enjoy as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it's this good, come on, you don't get 98, 100% in back-to-back films if it's not an okay movie.
I guess. I mean, I have heard good things about this first one. The trailer for the second one, though, just is not
mind-blowing, Andrew.
No.
I watched the first one, and it was just kind of all right, I'll be honest with you. I am in the habit of putting on a movie that I don't expect to be good while I clean the house.
Yeah.
So that is how I watched it, and it met my expectations of a house cleaning movie.
What?
Did you watch it then, though?
No, I did. I watched it. Anytime I had to pull out the vacuum, I paused it. Anything that would distract me from actually seeing it. But I didn't think it was anything special.
Well, Rotten Tomatoes would disagree, and we know that's the end-all be-all. So
she's one of the 2% or whatever.
Yeah, she was one of the 2%. Thank you, Kate.
Well, somebody has to be.
All right, Kate. What's your number 8?
Oh, I'm making a mess over here. My number 8 is Gringo.
Tell me about this movie.
You haven't seen the preview for it?
No, I have no idea what it is.
Okay, all right. So basically, the premise is this guy who works for a pharmaceutical company is sent to Mexico to deliver a formula for their new cannabis pill to start production over there. And basically, he's kidnapped, and it turns out the pharmaceutical company was doing deals with the cartel. They got cut off. They got mad, blah, blah, blah. So it's like following this guy in this haphazard journey of trying to get back home, basically. I'm not selling it very well because I didn't make the trailer. It looked pretty good. It looked funny. It's the only one that I watched recently that genuinely made me laugh. So that's why it's on my list. I'm not like heavy into the cannabis scene or anything, but I actually think I'm going to enjoy this one.
Well, we'll see if this movie comes out after Jeff Sessions and the Trump administration get done with it.
Oh my God, they're not going to stop the movie. Don't be like that.
Nah, I'm just kidding. I actually hadn't seen this trailer. So basically, this is Half-Baked 2 is what you're saying.
I suppose.
Have y'all seen Half-Baked?
Oh, you're going to be so disappointed in me.
No, I won't be. It's not like I'm asking you, have you seen Ghostbusters or something?
Which I have. Don't panic.
Okay.
I don't know that it's necessarily going to be like that because I'm actually of the impression from the trailer that it's not a bunch of weed jokes so much as it's just a guy caught up in a cartel.
I haven't seen Half-Baked either, but it definitely feels more along the lines of Pineapple Express.
That was going to be my question next. Yeah, is it kind of like Pineapple Express?
I mean, the weed is like a pill form of cannabis or whatever, so it's not even like, there's a lot of like weed smoking going on in the trailer or anything.
So that is Gringo. My number 8, and we kind of talked about this already, is Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One. My concern is just as big as Kate's concern. Is this movie going to look that good? You think with a budget like this and a director like this, it has to. But I don't know. Some of the CG looks a little iffy. It looks like it may be trying to do way too much. I haven't read the book. So that movie comes out, I believe it comes out at the end of March. So Ready Player One's my number 8. What's your number 7, Kate?
So my number 7 is Death Wish.
Oh, Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis, yep. I don't know. I'm kind of a weird person, I guess. I don't really like horror or anything. Most of the time when I go to see movies, it's either an animated movie or an action movie. So this just fits in my list. Looks pretty good.
I just look like to me Bruce Willis just mailing it in, getting his annual paycheck. I don't know. He didn't look, and that's kind of Bruce Willis is either all in or he's mailing it in, one of the two.
Well, I'll have to see it to know which one it turns out to be.
Yeah, Death Wish. My number 7 is Insidious: The Last Key, which just came out today. Friday, we're recording this podcast, directed by Adam Robitel. It is a prequel to the Insidious films. So just like the last one was a prequel as well, I believe. I'm looking forward to this. I love the Insidious franchise. I don't like it as much as Jerry does. He adores this franchise, but I imagine this isn't on your list.
I've never seen any of them, so no.
They are legitimately scary movies, especially the first one. Andrew, would this have made your list? I'm sorry, go ahead, Kate.
No, I just wondered what kind of scary.
Demonic.
Yeah, no, hard pass. Go ahead, Andrew.
Probably not. I haven't even seen the most recent one. This is a franchise I really like the first one, and then it's kind of escaped me since then for some reason. So maybe I need to catch up, and I'll be more excited for it. I'm excited for it in a general sense, but probably not enough to make it my top 10.
This is the film franchise that launched the career of Ty Simpkins, the kid from Iron Man 3, and also the kid from Jurassic World.
Yep.
But man, the first one and the second one had Patrick Wilson in it, and I just love that guy. Speaking of character actors, he may be the best in Hollywood. So he's not in this one, though. I don't know why that would sell anybody to see this version of the movie, but that one lady is the main lady. I think the actress's name is like Catherine Spoke or something like that. But you remember the lady that the story kind of always harkens back to, Andrew. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So this just came out now, so that's my number 7. So we're to number 6. Kate, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is Annihilation.
Okay. Tell us about Annihilation.
Is this another one you didn't really see myself?
Yeah, that's why I said it like.
I just had to call you out on it. God, who's the lady who's in it?
Natalie Portman.
Yeah, Natalie Portman. So the premise is this lady, her husband's in the military. He goes missing. They find out that he went into some kind of quarantined, I think they're calling it Area X, kind of an Area 52 kind of vibe to it. She is a biologist. Teams have been going in. They haven't been coming out. She wants to find out what's happened to her husband. So she goes in and basically goes past this wall that looks like a sheet of oil. I'm doing such a good job.
No, this actually is a good synopsis right here.
All right. So she goes through the sheet of oil and they find inside that evolution is like multiplied. Things are crossbreeding. There's like crazy stuff going on. That's pretty much all I know from it. But it looks
is this like a body horror movie though?
No. I don't get that vibe.
It reminds me, this kind of area reminds me more of like the Upside Down almost from Stranger Things. In general premise only, it's very when they went into this other, almost seems like an other dimension maybe. It's very pretty, like everything's really pretty and stuff. I mean, at least at first. So it's not like dreary.
dogs are about to annihilate some. Stop! Stop. This is high quality recording right here. Production.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, the vibe I get is that it's going to be a man versus nature kind of film. It's being
There's another beagle walking down the street. So
it's a man against nature thriller is what it looks like to me. And again, not an actual horror movie, so I'm very interested.
It looks to me like Stranger Things mixed with Arrival mixed with the female Ghostbusters movie. Spot on. Thank you.
as long as it's not like Spliced, because that movie freaked me out. Did you see that
I
one?
forgot about that movie. Yeah.
All right. So my number 6 is going to have to wait. I'm going to let Kate start with her number 6, which was Annihilation. So that's not going to work. My number 6. Yeah. Look, Kate, why don't you tell us your number 5 right now?
All right. Well, this is going to be very apropos because my number 5 is Isle of Dogs.
You're kidding.
Nope.
And on that note, I'm going to tend to my dog. Continue why you're excited for this movie, Kate.
All right. Well, since I'm filling here, basically the premise is Japan has too many dogs, and in an effort to quell the tide of dogs, they have relegated them to an island called Garbage Island.
Well, there's also like a dog flu or something, right?
I guess there's a dog flu. Too many dogs. Can't have that many dogs there. They put all the dogs on an island. A little boy wants to go find his dog, so he braves, I guess, the Japanese military to go find his dog. But it's done by the same people who did the Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Wes Anderson.
And Wes, yes, thank you. So it's puppets. It's not really, yeah, it's not traditional animation. It's puppetry. It looks really weird, and therefore I want to see it.
It's not going to be a depressing dog movie, though, is
Have you
it?
seen the trailer for this?
No, I have not.
Oh my god.
Oh geez. I honestly can't tell if it's going to be depressing or not. It's obviously a very bleak world. Nobody wants dogs around. They live on this island made of honest to God garbage. I don't know. There's something about. I like something about those weird animated films. I really enjoyed Coraline. I really loved Kubo and the Two Strings. This kind of physical animation is appealing to me. So that's really the main reason I want to see it.
All right. So that's your number 5, Isle of Dogs. So let's go with my 6 and 5. My number 6 here is Pacific Rim Uprising. This is the sequel to the very polarizing 2013 summer blockbuster by Guillermo del Toro. However, this one is directed by Stephen S. DeKnight. It comes out third weekend of April. John Boyega is the lead here. He's playing the son of the Idris Elba character from the first Pacific Rim. I'll be honest. The only reason this is this high on my list is this Pacific Rim. Because when I see this trailer, there's not too much to get me pumped up, except the scene where Charlie Sheen reunites with the other scientist character, who I can't remember the actor's name. Charlie Sheen. It's Charlie Day. Now, if Charlie Sheen was there, that would be that would make it maybe number 1 on my list. But I know this is a movie franchise that Andrew doesn't really like.
No.
You think Jerry will see this?
I mean, Jerry, he liked the first one, right?
Oh, he loved it.
Well, then, yeah. I mean, if he can get out to it. Me, I don't plan on seeing this ever. Period.
You've seen the trailer, though, right?
Yeah, I saw the trailer for it. I mean, I gave it a shot. I mean, I saw the first one, and if the sequel looks to be better, cool. But I'm not sure if it doesn't even look worse than the first one.
I'd say it looks worse. The trailer's not all that great.
Mm-mm.
So I'm imagining this.
Every mech anime I've ever seen anybody watch.
Yeah, it looks very derivative, I would say. So that's not on your list, I'm guessing, Kate.
No, not even close.
All right. So my number 5 is Rampage, directed by Brad Payton and starring The Rock. This almost looks like a spoof on Rock action movies with The Rock playing the lead. Brad Payton directed San Andreas, also another rock action blockbuster. It was from 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I would like to point out in that movie, The Rock, for a good little while, is riding around in a helicopter, and he appears to be doing the same thing in this movie as well. So
Yes,
there's something going on there.
I love San Andreas. I dismissed that movie. I was just enough. Yeah, I mean, okay, maybe love's overstating. I thought it was a great disaster movie.
Oh wow.
You're familiar with the
Yeah,
game, though, right?
What?
You're familiar with the game, correct?
The Gang?
Rampage.
Oh, the game. Yes. So this is loosely based on a video game. Not loosely.
Loosely being the operative word.
So tell us how. So tell me about the game, because no, I'm not. I know it, but I'm not familiar with it too
You
much.
haven't played it?
No, I've never played.
Oh, okay. So like I can't even remember what system I had it for, but I had a collection of arcade games, Smash TV, stuff like that. Rampage was in the list. And I'm pretty sure I always played as the lizard character. But I mean, the premise of the game is you and up to 2 other players are trying to destroy buildings and get points. You're going on a rampage. So I died laughing when I saw that this movie was coming out. I thought it was too funny.
It just looks like so much fun. It's got Negan from The Walking Dead, and I'm blanking on his name, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who has basically brought the Rock in to solve this problem, and he's been dealing with these monsters for apparently a long time. So I can't wait to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Dwayne The Rock Johnson interact. I think that'd be worth the price of admission. This one comes out in April. Who knows if I get to the theater to see it. On a side note, they released the packaging for the toys, and they look straight out of the 90s for real. Like they look like the Lost in Space toys.
Oh, wow.
So I can't wait. Speaking of that, did you know Lost in Space is coming to Netflix? Like they're a new Lost in Space show.
I had heard that recently.
That's crazy. Like I'm definitely checking that out when it comes out. So that was my number 5, Rampage. So we're on to number 4. Kate, what's your number 4?
I'm second guessing myself now. My number 4 is The Post.
But I thought about putting a Post on here, but
I think it counts.
that's a 2017 movie, right?
It's not, isn't it? Doesn't it come out?
It's been out in limited release.
Yeah, I mean, I consider the wide release.
I'm going to consider it wide release.
Because Split came out in 2016 in limited release, but everybody, I think, considers it a 2017 film.
But this will be at this year's Oscars for sure. Like this is getting nominated for Best Picture.
It's fine.
But no, it's fine. It's on your list. All right. Why are you excited for The Post?
Mostly because it just looks like it's going to be a good movie. I know that sounds really weird, but the cinematography that I've seen is interesting. I like the cast. My dad's in it. Everybody says my dad looks like Tom Hanks. He hates it. I do. I go to see all the Tom Hanks movies.
I think this is from all accounts, it's a very important film. Not just because it's the story of the Washington Post publishing, breaking the news on the Pentagon Papers,
right?
But it's a commentary on how important the media is to holding politicians accountable, and that couldn't be more important than it is right now.
Fake news, Brad. Fake news.
Donald Trump's giving out the fake news awards.
I know. We should do the same thing, right?
Yes, that will be our next episode.
We can go to what your pick is.
But I just want to say real quick, if the Post would have probably been in my top 3 if I considered it to be like a movie from this year.
Fair enough.
So my number 4 is Black Panther, coming out in February, directed by Ryan Coogler, Fruitvale Station, Creed. I mean, I'm excited for this movie. It's one of the best parts of Civil War. Movie looks unlike anything I've ever seen in the superhero subgenre. And those first 2 trailers, which I won't watch any more trailers of, just were mind-blowingly awesome. That Kendrick Lamar is doing the soundtrack for this movie. It's a like 95% African American cast, but you got Andy Serkis in there, so that's awesome. Playing Ulysses Claw. I just think seeing Wakanda like really for the first time. I know we saw glimpses of it in some post-credit scenes and stuff, but like really seeing it for the first time is going to be beautifully exciting. So Black Panther is my number 4.
So, sorry, just along with that, what part of it to you feels unlike previous superhero movies besides the cast?
Yeah, well, the cast definitely, but just it's bringing in like hip hop elements to, and I don't mean the cast being African American. I'm just talking about the marketing for this movie and that Kendrick Lamar's doing the soundtrack or the main theme or whatever. But you're in this lush jungle setting. Beautiful, beautiful scenery from the trailer. But yet you have all this technology that I wouldn't even say spaceships, even like advanced technology in this jungle setting. And it's not like an ugly jungle setting. We're not talking about like Vietnam here. I don't know. It's just aesthetically pleasing. And that's the way Wakanda has always been in the comic books as well.
Yeah, I'm interested. I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but just based off of Marvel's 2017 showings, where I feel like we essentially got 3 comedies, which all 3 I enjoyed. I'm interested to see this, which seems a lot more serious movie. Michael B. Jordan's in it, who I love, and his role. I don't know, some of the few bits I've seen of him already. I'm excited to see more of him. Like you were saying, to me, the aesthetic definitely feels Guardians, Thor Ragnarok ish. You know what I mean? I think just some of the I don't know. It feels, I don't want to say fantastical, but it definitely is out there. It kind of pictures to me how similar to the Inhumans, where it's just like this completely separate society from the rest of the world. You know what I mean?
Except this will actually be good.
Hopefully.
We're hoping. It seems like Marvel villains are trending upward, right? 2017 we talked about was good with the Vulture, with Ego, the Living Planet, with you had the Grand Master, and you had Who the Hell is Hela, right? And now, I mean, you're going to have Michael B. Jordan. Then you're finally getting the Thanos. So I think I'm getting excited for Marvel villains, which is not something I could really say. So that's my number 4 coming out, I think, February 15th. So that'd be a good Valentine's weekend treat there. What is your number 3, Kate?
Black Panther is my number 3.
So one spot above.
I won't rehash it too much, but kind of the whole getting back. I don't want to say gritty because the whole Batman thing got gritty, but more serious. Yes, I'm interested in seeing it tone down some of the humor and just be a really good superhero movie. So that's what I'm hoping for.
You're going to be disappointed. Like, I've given up hope on Marvel toning down the humor. I'm going to give them one more chance. Like, I think this will be comedic, but
you've enjoyed what they've put out this year, though, right?
No, I have, but I like
at the last more serious film, Doctor Strange. I was almost like a downward trend for me.
There needs to be grit in Infinity War. I hate to use that word, like Kate said, because it's so overplayed.
I don't know if we need grit, but yeah, it should be a little more serious. I would definitely. I don't think I'll appreciate Infinity War as much as I did Avengers or Civil War if it feels like Thor Ragnarok level humor.
Yeah, and I know I'd like to use this, and I hadn't used it in a while, but the stakes need to be insanely high in Infinity War.
They need to have a lot of heart.
Yeah, sure. But so my number 3 is New Mutants, directed by Josh Boone. I think Fox has been doing some, we'll see if they continue with it now that Disney bought them, but some very interesting things in the superhero subgenre. We got Deadpool, that hard R rating. We got Logan, which was almost like a modern R-rated Western. And now this is very, very, it has a lot of horror elements, and it's been described by Josh Boone, the director, as being a horror movie. And this comes out in April. I'm excited for this one. The trailers look cool. I'm not like a huge fan of the New Mutants in the comic books, like Cannonball and Magic's usually in there, and I mean they're an okay team, but I don't know. This movie looks like it's going to be something different. I think that's what superhero movies need to be in 2018.
Nice save.
Yeah. Well, 2017, they kind of went that way as well. Oh, Lord, somebody just pulled in my driveway. I hope the dogs don't see this. I think it's an Amazon package being dropped off. All right. So
What'd you order, Brad?
that I ordered Abby one.
Paddington.
No, Paddington came yesterday. It is, I think it's one of those day-by-day calendars with the Charlie Brown, the Peanuts game. So for Abby, so she likes those day-by-day calendars. Anyway,
Nice cover.
New Mutants is my number 3. So we're on the number 2. Kate, what's your number 2?
It's New Mutants.
Oh, right, man, we're really alternating here. Okay, so why is this so high on your list?
For that exact reason, it's an X-Men movie that is not what all the previous ones have been. I do not like horror movies. I cannot stress that enough, but I am very excited to see this. I don't know, I just really like the premise of a superhero movie that's not just going to be superheroes. I'm interested to see what they do with it. I am not as familiar with the New Mutant cast as I would be with some other X-Men, but I'm interested to see them. I want to know what they do with it, and I've been excited about this one since I first saw the trailer when it premiered.
Yeah, trailer's cool. The poster's cool as well, where it's kind of like them silhouetted, very, very horror poster. So yeah, New Mutants looks awesome. We're both really excited for that. My number 2 is staying with horror, Strangers 2, which is directed by Johannes Roberts, who directed a movie that I enjoyed this past year, which I must not have enjoyed it too much because I'm blanking on the name. 47 Meters Down. That was the movie he directed. So the shark movie that kind of came out of nowhere in 2017. Strangers 2, Pray at Night. I really liked the first Strangers movie that came out in 2008. It was legitimately scary, which not a lot of horror movies are these days. It feels like, and just to see these eerie characters return after, so a decade we've been waiting for a Stranger sequel. I'm really looking forward to it. Kate, I imagine this isn't on your list, being legitimate horror here. So,
Nope.
Andrew, are you looking forward to this one?
I am. I'm glad you brought it up because it's definitely one I was going to bring up at the end if you guys hadn't commented on it. It's funny because because we talked about the big gap in time. When I was watching, I kind of just going through, listing movies that are coming out and just throwing up trailers to watch because I just try to watch as many trailers as I can for this. I'm watching this and it's like, man, this reminds me of that one horror movie from all those years ago. What was the name of that movie? And I'm like, oh yeah, The Strangers, right? Yeah. So I'm excited to see this. I'm more excited it being a sequel to The Strangers than I think I would be just on its own. I think some of the aesthetic itself looks pretty cool on its own. So, but yeah, I'm excited for this.
And it comes out in March. It's funny that Kate doesn't like horror. Andrew, our friendship was kind of launched on Spider-Man and horror, right? Because we went, The Hills Have Eyes too.
With what's his face? Jet Jackson? What's that show called?
I can't remember.
Jet Jackson.
Yeah, that was not the best movie, but that was a good time, and that was like one of over 100 movies we've probably seen together.
Yeah.
Since then, so yeah, cool stuff. All right, number 1. What's your number 1, Kate?
You're gonna laugh at me.
Paddington 2.
Yeah, no, it's totally Paddington 2. No, I was gonna say Animal Crackers, definitely. Yeah. Anyway, you haven't even seen that preview, have you? All right, good job.
No.
My number 1 is Game Night.
This almost made my list, and I wanted to hear one of our co-host opinions on this. Why is this number 1 though? Come on, it doesn't look that good.
Nope, because I'm just a weird person, I guess. I was looking at my list here and I was thinking, if all of them came out tomorrow, which one would I want to see first? And
yeah,
that's the one I want to see first. Because it's right up my alley. It's kind of dumb. It's got a little bit of manageable horror. It's got thriller aspects. It's game night. I love games. I like the premise of a murder mystery gone south. And it's got some actors in it that I enjoy.
Yeah, Rachel McAdams is in there. Jason Bateman.
So
Kyle Chandler.
So yeah, that's why it's my number one, because I want to go see it, and I would literally go see it right now, even if all the others were out.
And y'all's relationship was kind of born over game night. So I know this is going to be a movie that I imagine you guys will both go see, probably together. Andrew, what are your thoughts?
Absolutely not.
No, why?
So I'm gonna take my mom because she'll appreciate it.
Andrew, what are your thoughts on this movie? Because you're the first person I thought of when I saw this trailer.
Yeah, I'm excited for this too. This kind of came out of nowhere. It's not one I'd heard about before, checking out different trailers. It's definitely somewhere on my top 10. Like it looks, I don't know, it looks kind of like funny and charming, and it's kind of a silly premise. It's right out of my alley. So,
all right, so that's game night. I believe it comes out in April as well. My number one is Cloverfield 3, our Cloverfield God Particle, directed by Julius Onah. I love Cloverfield. I love both of them. 10 Cloverfield Lane was better than I ever hoped a Cloverfield sequel could be, as loosely as it was tied to it. John Goodman was so good in that movie. This is a franchise that shouldn't even be a franchise, right? J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot have found these kind of spec scripts that they have turned into loosely tied in Cloverfield movies. So have no idea what to expect. If it didn't have Cloverfield in the title, I probably wouldn't give a shit, which may say a lot about the movie itself. But at the same time, I wouldn't even be surprised if this movie doesn't come out this year, which is depressing.
No, I think it will. The premise doesn't sound exciting to you at all?
No, not the premise. No, I'm not saying it doesn't sound exciting to me. I just it would probably be in my top 10, but it wouldn't be number one if it was not Cloverfield.
That's fine. That's fair.
That's what I mean by that.
Okay.
But yeah, and I can't believe Kate hates Cloverfield, the original.
No, I understand.
It wasn't good.
I don't know. Some people love to hate on Cloverfield, and especially when those shaky cam type movies. Some people just don't like them. I don't know. My feelings on this. Like, we still have no trailer.
Yeah.
There's plenty of other good movies that I can look at and be like, oh, I have some sort of example of what this movie is going to be, a little sample. So it's, that's good. But this, it's like the idea sounds good on paper, the plot itself. And after 10 Cloverfield Lane, cool if they're bringing these kind of interesting scripts into the Cloverfield universe. But I don't know. I need to see something from it first.
All right, Kate, let's do honorable mentions, and then we'll let Andrew kind of run down some of his list of stuff we haven't talked about. What are your honorable mentions, stuff you would like to go see but just didn't make your top 10?
I didn't write them down, so I'm drawing a blank.
All right, on that note, I'll tell you some of mine. Gotham by Gaslight, straight to DVD adaptation of a famous Batman story where Bruce Wayne is trying to solve the Jack the Ripper case. So a Mike Mignola story. I don't know if that would really count since it's straight to DVD. 1517 to Paris, the Clint Eastwood movie about a terrorist attack in Paris. Game Night was one of my honorable mentions. Red Sparrow.
Go back to 1517 to Paris. So this, if I understand the trailer right, these are the actual people in the movie?
Yeah, which is a crazy concept, and I don't know how entertaining that will be, but it's going to be different. Yeah.
Well, was it Generation Kill? There's an HBO series that did something similar about soldiers in Iraq. I think it was Generation Kills, what it was called. Marines, maybe it might not have been soldiers. And so they had some of the same. They had some of the actual people playing themselves. I know in that, and I guess that did well for them. I don't know.
Okay, so I said Game Night. Red Sparrow, which we mentioned, but we didn't. This would probably been like my 12 or 13. Jennifer Lawrence playing basically Black Widow is what it felt like. So that's kind of why it just seemed unoriginal. Not that it would be bad. It just didn't look like anything special. let's see, Mary Magdalene. You got Rooney Mara. That's coming out around Easter. That may be very sacrilegious, but we'll see how that ends up. And Super Troopers 2. Super Troopers was a big comedy movie when I was in high school. So I can't wait to see Broken Lizard return to the big screen. The Blumhouse.
This was a crowdfunded movie, correct?
I believe so, which is crazy. The Blumhouse horror movie Truth or Dare coming out the last week of April. Looks.
I was telling Kate, because we watched this trailer together. I said this is not going to make my list, but this is exactly a movie I'm probably going to wind up seeing with Jerry at some point.
Yeah, I would love to watch that with you guys. A Quiet Place, the Emily Blunt and John Krasinski movie. Of course, they're married in real life. Is completely pretty much a silent movie. Mm-hmm. So that looks like a very interesting premise.
That one would probably make my top 10 list. Like, to me, the trailer was very interesting. It doesn't show that much, I guess. So, maybe I watched the movie. I'm like, oh, this was a bad call. This is awful or something. But the trailer, I think, was really well done and really makes me wonder, like, oh, what's going on? You know what I mean? It really makes me want to go watch this.
Yeah, The Commuter. So that's the typical Liam Neeson movie coming out January 12th. Proud Mary, which looks like that could be a fun cop movie coming out also January 12th. One thing, I believe she's a cop, right?
No, she's an assassin.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
See, her character, she played a cop on Person of Interest. So I guess that's where I pulled that from. So here's what's interesting. When I first thought about making this list, we even said this might have to be a top 5 because I didn't know if I could find 10 movies I wanted to see this winter and spring. But looks like there's a lot of decent stuff coming out between now and the end of April.
Yeah, and like we said, I mean, I think for the most part, we all picked mostly, wide release films. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. There's always something to find. There's always, people like to joke a lot about, especially January and February being dumping grounds, and for a lot of times it is. But I don't know. There's always stuff out there, and especially now, with like Black Panther and stuff coming out, February, like it's just kind of crazy. March has become this big month, so.
Andrew, is there any other films you'd like to bring up?
I'm trying to think. I think for the most part, you guys got them. At least some of the ones I would talk about. I'm glad you brought The Commuter. It's probably one of those movies that's going to be dumb that I'll probably wind up watching on Netflix, though, one afternoon and enjoying in that. You know what I mean? Like,
but it has Vera Farmiga.
Yeah.
I absolutely is up there with Emily Blunt on my celebrity crush list.
To me, it's like Liam Neeson.
Love my wife.
Liam Neeson just running around, doing Liam Neeson stuff. Like, it's just, no, that's enough for me. Man, I don't know. 12 Strong maybe looks a little heavy-handed.
Yeah, it really does.
But you never know. I liked 13 Hours decently, but it's pretty heavy-handed at parts.
Adam Dixon's favorite movie of the past decade.
Okay. Yeah, there's Blockers coming out. Have you seen the trailer for this?
No.
With John Cena's the main one. It's basically about these 3 parents who have 3 teenage daughters, and the 3 teenage daughters are going to prom and apparently are trying to lose their virginity. And the 3 parents are doing anything they can to stop this from happening. It looks dumb, but
is this a WWE production?
I don't think so. It obviously it's a comedy. So I love dumb comedies. I'm not sure if this will be, just dumb or what. But the trailer did make me laugh a little bit. I just think, John Cena's out there doing movies, kind of just worth mentioning, I guess.
Yeah, Ferdinand people love, so I really want to see that. The animated movie where he voiced the bull.
Yeah, that's talking about.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Go ahead, Andrew.
I think that's basically it.
All right. So if you guys don't have anything else to say about the movies coming out in the winter and spring, we can close this up. But Kate, sounds like you had a point you wanted to make.
No, I was just looking at the list that he wrote down because my phone is updating for some reason. Molly's Game is one that I had briefly considered because it's it's one of those that looks like it will be interesting. I'm not really into drama that much. Premise seems like something interesting, and it is a strong female lead, which I think is nice.
And written and directed by Aaron Sorkin. First movie.
Oh, yeah, I should have. Yeah, that came out this week as well. I think it came out today.
But it was a 2017 movie, so it will be like at this year's Oscars, even though it's getting wide release. Yeah,
I'm talking wide releases. That's what U.S. release and wide release is kind of what I count. Of course, and also one we forgot. I don't think anybody's mentioned 50 Shades Freed coming out. Super excited to. I believe this is the end of the trilogy.
Thank God.
Probably shows my hand that I have no idea what I'm talking about. So. Yeah, that's a joke, obviously.
My wife, Abby.
Whatever. I mean, I know it's a big franchise. I'm not trying to, if you're into it, that's fine.
My wife went and saw this on a work outing. The girls from her work got together.
The second one?
The second one, yeah. And they had dinner and they went to the movie, and I believe they snuck wine into the movie. And she was telling me about some of the scenes, and yeah, she thinks these movies are dumb too, even though she's watched both of them. But
I have friends that have gone with their parents to see these films.
Oh my God.
I haven't read the books. I haven't, seen the movies, so I can't really judge. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's something there. I don't know, but yeah, it's at least a big movie coming out. I guess it's worth money for that.
I just remember Jerry's jokes about the seat. After,
geez.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not saying what the joke is, but it was funny.
You need to.
I think we were going to see like the Lego movie, and it had been in the theater that the first 50 Shades of Grey movie was in. But good times.
Good times.
All right, so this has been episode 81 of the Confirmed Epic Podcast. On episode 82, the plan is to review a 2017 movie, David Ayer's Bright, starring Will Smith and Joe Edgerton. Getting a lot of word of mouth, a lot of buzz, whether that's good or bad, depends on who you listen to.
They officially greenlit the sequel like just this past week.
Yeah, written by Max Landis, who is a very polarizing person, been accused of sexual assault now. So
2017, who wasn't?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reviewing this, guys. I cannot wait to watch this movie, even if it's going to be bad.
Well, I won't give an opinion, but I have already seen it, so get on it.
All right. And Andrew, you haven't, right? You're going to watch it this week?
No, I'm not going to tell. Yeah, I'm going to watch it this week. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so you can check that out on Netflix for sure. That should be an easy one for people to access. And after that, maybe we'll get to the theater
follow along
and see some of these movies that we had on our list. So that's going to wrap it up for episode 81 of the Confirmed Epic Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Confirmed Epic Podcast and the Stardust app at Confirmed Epic. You can find our t-shirts at tpublic.com/user/TheRealBradBell. Geeks Worldwide t-shirts coming to our store soon, in works with Joe, who runs Geeks Worldwide, to get that on there. You can find me on Twitter at TheRealBradBell, DREEL Brad Bell. Andrew Stokes, where can people find more of you?
You can follow me on Twitter at AKA Andrew Stokes. That's it.
And Kate, where can people find you?
They cannot. Still.
Oh, she's still the invisible woman. Okay, so also don't forget to check out actionfigurebarbecue.com, Jerry's epic toy blog where he serves up reviews hot and fresh daily. He's covering his Christmas hauls right now, so those are always fun. You can find this podcast always at the Epic Review, thepicreview.com, and at Geeks Worldwide, thegww.com. And from the Hollywood foothills of North Carolina, we are out.
That's all I have to say about that.
This has been a production of the GWW Radio Network. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Also, check out Geeks Worldwide at thegww.com for all the latest news, reviews, and opinions on video games, comics, movies, TV, cosplay, and more. Geeks, assemble!